Welcome to another segment in the featured author series of the second annual All Words Matter Black Author Book Expo. Today we are thrilled to welcome Reverend Bertram Be'Jay Major as a featured author for the All Words Matter Black Author Expo. Reverend Major is a passionate storyteller. He's a spiritual guide and an advocate for healing through faith and reflection. His work inspires readers to embrace resilience, explore purpose, and deepen their connection to God's plan. So join us as he shares his wisdom, his experiences, and his literary gifts, an opportunity to be encouraged, uplifted, and inspired by a voice that truly speaks to the heart. So welcome in Reverend Bertram B.J. Major. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, of course, I'm a minister of the gospel. I've been spreading the gospel since I was a kid, but I've been officially licensed since 2016. I've been ordained since 2021. I'm an author of three books, The Pursuit of God's Peace, Can You See Me
Mhm.
Now? And I Must Tell Jesus My Lessons and Memories from Calvary. Currently working on my fourth book, which is working me to death, but we're gonna get there. Um,
Okay, right. All
I
right, I
am
like that.
I'm the host of the award-winning God's Recorded podcast and the host of the Sunday Word Report. I love the
Mhm.
Lord. I always live by and preach by only what you do for Christ will last. I've been
Yeah.
married for the past year to my beautiful
Yes.
wife, Laura, and we have three kids, Lauren, Jaquez, and B3, aka Bertram the Third. So I mean that's
Mhm.
that's basically me in a nutshell. I'm not gonna give no
Mhm.
whole out history or nothing like that, but that is me.
Right. Right. So you do have a full life, and that's a blessing
Yes.
there. That is a blessing. So what inspired you to write your books, and what message do you hope that your readers take away from them?
Honestly, so here's the story. I was thinking of something while you asked me that. So,
Mm-hmm.
it was in second grade when I started to
Ooh.
learn how to write. So
Mm-hmm.
I remember second grade. I didn't understand it then, but I didn't understand until I got older. Like, that was the Lord speaking to me, telling me I'm gonna be an author one day. I
Yeah.
just kept hearing that voice as a kid. I didn't understand it,
Right.
really. But now I see that was God telling me I'm gonna be an author one day, and I was actually looking down because I actually still have the notebook I wrote
Oh,
my first
wow.
on. And it's just little kids sentences, but to me, I'm writing a whole big old story, and I'm gonna try to
Right.
expo for the show it to everybody. But that's where it all began. Now, my first book wasn't supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
my first book. I went through something, and that
Okay.
ended up becoming my first book. And
Mm.
it's I just wanted to use that form to do more ministry,
Right.
writing, talking about real life situations and stuff
Yes.
that people go through that a lot of folks don't talk about or the church is scared to talk about, but that's a whole nother story for a
Yes.
whole nother
Right.
time.
Whole nother story, whole
So
nother book, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do in my writing, not just to say, oh, I'm an author, but just to truly
Mhm.
make sure I write something that one comes from God and two,
Yes.
something that's going to help somebody who's, going through a certain situation.
Right. Okay. So writing is a big part of your ministry, in other
Big
words.
part.
Okay.
Big part.
That's wonderful. So how has that brings us into this next question. How has your journey as a reverend influenced your storytelling since it kind of goes like, you started, like you said, together almost in a sense. So how has that tied, together and influenced you?
Honestly, I didn't realize how much writing was a part of my ministry
Mm-hmm.
until probably 10, 11 years ago when I used to write articles and post them online.
Okay.
Yeah, and for those who remember who've been following me for a long time, no, I used to do that. Did
Hmm.
not realize I'm doing something big. It's just
Right.
something I felt led to do at the time, and people would tell me how much they would look forward to those encourage. It just used to be like 1 or 2 pages of
Mm-hmm.
encouragement, and then I remember people telling me, BJ, you need to publish your stuff because it's stuff that
Right.
I don't wrote poems. I got a whole
Okay.
manuscript stuff that I have not never published. I mean, fiction stories
Oh,
that I
wow.
haven't, put out there yet. So it's just I did not realize how much it has been a part of my ministry till I got older. When
Mm-hmm.
I wrote my first book and my second book, I was, just a licensed, minister. I wasn't ordained at the
Right.
time. And that even helped shape me and mold me, not just
Mm-hmm.
in my ministry, but in my writing. And then by the
Okay.
time my third book came out, of course, I was ordained by then. And just looking back over my last three
Hmm.
books,
Right.
it I'm gonna put it like this: it was a usual situation with
Okay.
each book, with this
Right.
whole writing journey. It just every situation has been unusual because I
Right.
just never imagined how much writing would be a part of my ministry and how it would impact others. Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna tell the truth. I was saying to myself, people don't read stuff no more.
Right. They don't.
Nobody ain't gonna take the time to read what I got to say. But
Right.
you'll be amazed. I strongly believe that reading and writing and getting books is making a huge comeback
It
to me,
is. It
my
is.
personal opinion. So I just
Hmm.
went to a Bible bookstore on vacation.
I
I was like a
saw
kid in
that.
the city. So
I saw
so
that.
it's just something about writing and reading that just excites me. And I try to
Hmm.
use every form that I can to minister to each
Hmm.
other. And writing just happened to be a big part of that.
Right. Okay. So, men that you mentioned writing as being a big part of it, are you also an avid reader or are you more of a writer?
Well, yeah, well, the location, I mean, I got my bookshelf right here. I mean, it's a
Okay. So you,
plethora of books, and at my home
okay.
office, a plethora of books. So I love to read. I strongly believe that
Okay.
cliche. If you read a book because some people put it in a book so because they think people ain't gonna see it. But so
Right.
I learn to love to learn new things. I love to,
Hmm.
just read. Even I'm gonna keep it real. Just,
Hmm.
fiction or something like that, adventure stories. I
Right.
just I
Right.
just I just love it because I believe one thing I try to tell my kids and other people who are having a hard time trying to write or do something for school or
Hmm.
whatever, be creative. Remember,
Right.
you're the author. So, I just love
Hmm.
reading different kind of stories and being taken on adventure. I'm like road rats. I read something,
Yes.
my mind just go into a whole nother world. So,
Right.
yeah, I love to read. Yeah, I
Right.
read till I can't read no more.
Yes, I understand that. So, what is your creative process like? Well, I know you write from your real life experiences. So, kind of, what is your creative process once you get an idea in your head to write about it?
One thing I said this plenty of times: always keep something to write.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm good enough tech savvy, but I'm old school. I like having a pen and paper,
Oh
and
my
like
goodness.
yeah, I'm like people are shocked like when they find out I'm a young man. But
Right.
I really prefer the old school way than the new school way because I'm tech savvy enough to get stuff done. But
Right.
I don't want to waste my time and try to do all that type. I just love to write. So
Oh, I'm
my
that new
writing pro-
school. I'm gonna admit it. I'm older, but I'm that new school when it comes to
yeah.
that.
Yes, exactly. And my writing process is very interesting. So I'm gonna give y'all a little
Hmm. Yeah, give us a
help
little
with
bit.
this. Yeah.
Yes.
So with me, when God gives me the title of the book to write, the first thing I do
Mhm.
is write down the chapters.
Oh, really?
I write down the chapters so I know where I'm heading.
Okay. Okay.
And then I go back and start the brainstorming. So I haven't published my first fiction book with characters, but for example, with my last book, I Must Tell Jesus, it was about my lessons and memories from my home church, Mount Calvary. Shout out to Mount Calvary, Augusta,
Yeah.
Georgia, Reverend Dr. Christopher Armstrong. So what
Okay.
I did with that story is I
Hmm.
started off from my childhood, and each chapter I was going down through the years from the 90s all the way up to the
Right.
present day. And so, because
Hmm.
one thing about me, I'm very organized. I like starting somewhere and kind of easing on into the next point or the
Right.
next chapter. So,
Hmm.
it's just that's how I do it to stay organized and to keep me from going completely crazy. Because writing,
Right.
sometimes let me
Yeah.
tell you this, it's just you gotta find what fits for you to kind of
Right.
help you
Hmm.
get through the writing process because oh man, it's a journey. But that's my writing process. I try to
Right.
write out the chapters first,
Okay.
and then I go back and do the other work and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
the rest is up to God because Lord knows I be trying to have it done by this time, and next thing you know, it'll be a whole nother year or something. Then it comes.
Right. All in his timing, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes. Okay, so I guess tell us a little bit about what challenges have you faced and how did you overcome them, in your writing?
Ooh, okay. So going back to when I, first heard God tell me I was going to be an author,
Hmm.
it wasn't, that was 99, 2000 when I was in second
Okay.
grade.
Oh,
So between then and 2018, when I published my first book, I had went through health issues.
okay.
I had went through bullying,
Right.
teasing, didn't finish school because of my health.
Okay.
I ended up getting my GED in 2021, but that's a whole, like I said, whole nother
Right.
story for a
But
whole nother
God had
time.
plans for you and you,
Yes,
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 okay. All right.
but through it all, like I stayed writing. Either it was writing in my journal or writing short stories.
Okay.
Also another little interesting snippet. I used to write short stories in high school and used to have an email
Oh,
chain to send to my
okay.
classmates.
You did
So
everything, didn't you?
yeah, so it's just
All right.
I have went through a lot leading up to my first book. It's just with
Mm-hmm.
life and me, trying to find my way in Christ and eventually getting
Right.
officially into the ministry.
Mm-hmm.
It's not been easy, especially with my first book. I hope I'm not jumping ahead of
No,
myself.
you're
Like
fine.
for my first book, The Pursuit of God's Peace, a lot of people are shocked when they read about that, that book is about how I found peace in God after
Right.
going through a terrible heartbreak and
Yeah.
divorce
Right.
back in 2016. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting because I always, I have my books in my office and I always
Mm-hmm.
look at them. I'm like, wow, just to think of what I went through just to get all
Right.
three of these books. Like the second book came out in the midst of COVID.
Right. I saw that.
So
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
I mean in 2020, not 2021. I mean
Right.
in COVID, and uh, usual situation. It's just
Right. That's what
you
everybody
know
was doing, going through
never
stuff
thought
and mm-hmm.
Never thought my first book was going to be about my divorce. Never thought my second book was going to be
Right.
about a global pandemic. Never
Right.
thought, well, I kind of knew I wanted to write a book about my experiences at my home church. That's the only book I can say
Right.
that I actually had planned and actually,
Right.
went through with. As a matter of fact, that was the next book going to be about. It's going to be a sequel to
Mm-hmm.
my home church book. But yeah,
Okay.
it's just well, it's not crazy to me, but a lot of people think it's
Right.
crazy. I just try to use my experiences to give God glory and to show others, hey,
Right.
if I could get through this, you
Yes.
can too. So that's why
Amen.
I go through what I go through, not for me, but for others to see the glory of God.
Amen to that. I can definitely, as writing memoirs and poetry myself, I can relate to that because God brings us through a situation, but it's not just for us. We got
That's
people need
right.
to see how we made it through, how what we actually went through, and oh wow, they went through that, but they made it through to the other side, by His
Hmm.
grace. So they need to see that. So I applaud you for writing your story and for writing it at such a young age because a lot of people want to keep things hidden and all this and that and don't want to
Hmm.
share or embarrass or ashamed, whatever. But I
Yeah.
applaud you for even sharing, like you say, even writing about your divorce and everything, sharing that story and as a minister. And so, how has being a minister at your ripe age, how has that been for you in this day and age? Because
It's how can I put this? It makes me feel like I'd have made it to a point I never was gonna make it to.
mm,
Because you hear a lot of preachers, oh, I don't wrote books and this and that, and I look
right.
at me and I'm just sometimes just like I'm just BJ,
Right, that's what you tell us to call.
Um,
You just call me BJ, and I'm like, oh, you Rev, you Rev Major.
and I'm very to myself. I'm a private person, so
Hmm.
if I'm in a room full of preachers, a lot of people say, "Well, you need to open up and talk about yourself." I'm like, yeah, don't get me wrong, networking is important, but I don't just believe
Hmm.
in me and somebody just start talking about myself. So it got to be the right type of situation. But
Hmm.
when I'm at a point now when meet preachers or people and they ask me, about myself, of course I mention my podcast and what I
Right.
do in ministry and my books, and they were like, oh, so you got a book out? And I was like, I got three out. You know,
Right.
it's like,
Exactly.
oh, you big time. And in my head, I'm like,
Like,
just publish
no.
books.
Right.
It reminds it tells me that I have arrived to a point where I really thought I would never be at. Not even that, being an
Hmm.
award nominated off because my last book was
Yes.
actually nominated a few years ago at the Music Love Awards in Arkansas. So
Okay. Yes.
um yeah, it's incredible, to
Mhm.
and people. I didn't know how much people look up to me, especially like
Right.
young adults and teenagers. I did not realize that because when they look at what I have done in just 34 years of being on this earth,
Exactly.
it's inspiring to them. And to me, it's just like I'm just me,
Right. You just
at
BJ,
the end of
right?
the day. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's really it's a blessing. It's humbling. It's
Mm-hmm.
humbling, and to know that when it comes to my ministry, I have a podcast, I do stuff on YouTube, and also I have
Mm-hmm.
writings and books out there. So if people need some type of help, they may not be a person who can receive stuff from a video, or somebody can see something from an audio. But if they
Right.
love to read, there go my books right there. So
Yeah. Exactly.
and currently I'm thinking about trying to do a blog, but I'm still
Okay.
praying.
Pray
So
about
yeah,
that, right?
yeah, I gotta
Blogs
pray
take
about that.
time, so yes, you gotta play.
Yeah, but it has
Pray about it.
really been a blessing to my ministry as a minister to be
Mm-hmm.
able to not only have those books to on my resume, but to
Right.
also be just named with some great people who are also
Yes.
authors that are happen to be pastors and preachers
Yes.
and stuff like that. So it's a very humbling what's the
Mm-hmm.
word I'm looking for? It's a very humbling situation. I think that's the
Right.
right word.
Okay. Yes, it is. And hey, whatever the words that are meant to come out are gonna come out. So
Yeah.
yes, that's the appropriate word. So I guess that would move me into what excites you most about being a part of the Our Words Matter Black Author Expo for the second time?
Honestly, and this is God's truth, it's an answered
Mhm.
prayer. And let me tell you the story. I
Mhm.
never told you this story, Miss Deborah. So
Mhm.
2018, when my first book came out,
Mhm.
one of my church members from Mount Zion, when I was at
Mhm.
Mount Zion. Shout out Miss Gilcrease.
Okay.
She has been a tremendous supporter of me since my first book came out. And
Oh.
she would give me encouragements through
Mhm.
writings and stuff to do. And
Okay.
one of the words of advice was to get connected to, like conventions and workshops and expos to get my books out there. But at the time,
Mhm.
you know, I could not find nothing locally.
Right.
So what happened is I said, Lord, I just pray that I'm able to find something close by or something here
Mhm.
where I live at. So of course, 2018 turned to 2019, then here we are. 2000 what was 23, I met Miss
Mhm.
Deborah at,
Yes.
at a at a family and friends day, and
Right.
I got connected with her, and I kept saying to myself, there's something about her that I don't know something. I'm looking forward to doing more stuff with her because something
Right.
about her. And
Mhm.
and she ended up winning a raffle, and the basket she chose
And
was my
got your
basket. I
book.
believe with all my books in it. So
Yes. Yes.
what ended up happening the following year is when she revealed about the expo. And when I
Mhm.
tell you, it was just like a breath of fresh air. It was like I got to be a part of this. I got
Yes.
to because I said this in previous interviews when I've interviewed authors. I
Mhm.
told them it's good to go to a place where I could see people who look like me.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, last year it's like everything was trying to prevent this thing from happening. I mean,
Yes, it was.
hurricanes and all kind of
Right.
stuff. It kept getting pushed back. And when I tell you, every time she said it's gonna be pushed, I pray because like God, this obviously something big gonna go down at this expo that this
Right,
devil.
Amy.
Everybody blames stuff on the devil, but I could see this was the devil really trying to get
He
in the way
was. He was really
of this.
trying. Yeah, I changed the
And
date
I
like
was
two, three
praying.
times.
And she kept saying, "I'm sorry, I gotta change." I was like, I was saying to myself, I'm gonna still be there. I don't care what day is on. If I gotta cancel something, I'm gonna be there.
Right.
And to be able not only to be one of the featured authors, but just to be among some great authors.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, the atmosphere was incredible. I'm still mad a year later that I did not get a chance to go to everybody because it was so much
Right.
going on.
Yeah.
And it's an honor for me to be one of the feature authors. Something I
Yeah.
thought I would never do or see my name
Hmm.
on a flyer with my books, and
Yeah.
I'm a feature. I mean, to me, I don't ever have to be make it big with my books because to me, I feel like I have made it.
Yes, you
Now,
have.
don't get me wrong. If God sends me there, yes, go Lord.
Right, of course.
Said, I feel like a little boy from Augusta, Georgia, who battled
Hmm.
with anxiety and depression and peer
Yes.
pressure and low self-esteem.
Right.
Didn't know when I was gonna get a diploma. Now I got degrees and diplomas on my wall. Now I'm
Yes.
here at a the Our Words Matter Black Authors Expo, and I want to feature authors. And not only that, my
Yeah.
podcast gonna be going live. I mean, come on
Exactly.
now.
I was about to mention that next, and you're doing some of the feature author interviews for us, so that
Yes.
collaboration has really been a blessing for me as well. Because that's what it's all about, community. It's working together,
Mhm.
bringing us all together. We're not separating ourselves, but we're coming together. And that's that's
Exactly.
that's what that's what I prayed about, and God honored it. So I'm continuing on and listening, leaning on His guidance for everything, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited to have you as a returning featured author, and as a collaboration with your the God's Recording podcast. So you all tune into
Yes.
his videos as well, his YouTube channel, to check out some of the other featured author interviews as well, because this is big, this is huge. I couldn't do it all by myself. God said, no,
Mm.
got to send you some reinforcements, And I said, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. So, yes. So, excuse me. So, who are some of your favorite authors or spiritual mentors?
Ooh, spiritual mentors, of course. My all my pastors. Now, before y'all call me crazy, yes, I have had four pastors, but I have been at only two churches. So
Okay.
course, my pastor from Mount Carey, my home church pastor, Reverend Dr. Clyde Hill Sr. I
Hmm.
grew up with him. Honestly, that he's the one. His ministry introduced me to Jesus and
Okay.
really helped me to express my creative side. Because he
Hmm.
loves poetry and stuff. One of his favorite poets, I
Okay.
believe, is Langston Hughes.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
he's one of my spiritual mentors. And then God led me to Mount Zion Baptist Church for 12 years. Reverend Thomas Walker, one of
Okay.
my spiritual mentors. Then he retired, and then Reverend
Okay.
Shafis Boyd,
Hmm.
another spiritual mentor. Then God led me back to Mount Calvary last year, and Reverend
Yeah.
here have since retired, and now Reverend Dr. Christopher Armstrong. So those are my spiritual
Hmm.
mentors. When it comes to writing, of course, I like Langston Hughes too, Maya
Yeah.
Angelou.
Hmm.
I'm when it comes to favorite writers, it's mostly poetry. I love
Right.
poetry.
Hmm.
Um, it just still to this day, I love watching the video of Maya Angelou, recite "Still
Yes, exactly.
Rise."
Still I
So
rise. Yes,
yes,
I love
matter of
that.
fact, Reverend Hill did a Easter Sunday sermon called "Still I
Okay.
Rise."
All
Back in
right now.
so,
Okay.
but those are the one that comes to my mind. And also,
Hmm.
and I'm not just saying this to be saying this, but also too, I love, authors, I'm fans
Hmm.
of authors that I personally know, that have
Yes.
published book because it's just
Hmm.
it's one thing to read a book, but when you know the author, it's a whole other ball game.
Exactly. It hits different. It hits different. It does. Like I know this author. So like they're writing their story or they're writing however they're written, but I know that author. And that's like wow.
Hmm.
Like yes, like we have our own Hollywood red carpet as they say, like yes.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's how I feel about it. So it's just a blessing to be able to have us all come together and to, like I said, to collaborate and to commune with one another and fellowship, because it's all about fellowshipping as well.
Mhm.
And this year, we have a few more minutes to look to go. You can also stay with us, but this year we're having it at my home church, Almond Branch Baptist Church here in Aiken, South Carolina, at 334 Church Street, and that's under Reverend Michael Bruce Page. So you all come out. It's going to be Saturday, November the 8th from 11 to 3 p.m. Eastern here in Aiken, South Carolina. And Reverend Major BJ, you have any final words for the our audience?
I can't wait for the expo. I've been waiting for this expo since last year expo because the most terrible part about last year when it was all over and I had to go home.
Yes.
And also one interesting story that I have never said on here live or anywhere. Last year for the expo, the reason I was extra happy because me and my wife found out the night before that she was expecting
Oh wow. Okay.
V3, and
Well,
it was still a secret, and I was just walking around the expo just smiling and happy. And nobody knew why. But it's also
Right.
a joy to not only have my children there, but also
Yes.
our new bundle of joy, our new edition B3 there. So it's just I'm looking forward to the
Yes.
8th. I am getting everything ready. My books and stuff are packed up, and that's why I don't have them here in front of me right now because
Right.
everything's
Okay,
already packed up
good.
for next
Good.
month. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to it, and I thank you for this opportunity. It's not often that I'm on the other side being interviewed, so it felt good to be the
Yeah.
person being interviewed this time.
Right, I understand. Because I will be on your show, of course, also on the 7th, the
Yeah.
night before. So you all make sure you tune into that as well on the God's Recording Podcast. But again, Reverend Major, BJ, I would like to thank you so much for again being a part of the Our Words Matter Black Author Expo family. You're here to stay, not going nowhere, we're not
Yes.
letting you go. And again, you all come out and see us and all the authors that are going to be there and get you some good food. Just that's all around good time. So don't miss it, you guys. You heard it here. Reverend Major told you how he feels about the expo. So you all come on out and support. And we want to thank you again for watching this episode of Harriet's Thoughts, our Words Matter Black Author Expo featured author series. And you all have a wonderful, blessed day.
Be blessed.
All right.